and welcome to The Balancing Act. I'm Olga Villaverde.
And I'm Montel Williams.
Today, what you need to know about estate planning.
Plus, equipping educators and leaders with ways to tackle poverty in our schools and communities.
And financial tips to help your credit score.
And guess what? It all starts right now on The Balancing Act.
According to Paying for Senior Care, assisted living can cost around $48,000 a year.
Whoa.
Yikes. The average cost of just shared room in a nursing home, $245 a day.
It's crazy.
This can leave a toll on your loved ones, the family, and of course, the finances.
And this is just one of the many startling statistics when it comes to aging, caregiving, and more. So rather than playing catch up, why not be proactive when it comes to putting together your affairs and put them in order?
Jonas Hemingway, senior attorney at Gravis Law, joins us along with Michelle Finch, Gravis Law managing attorney, and they're here to share their expertise on the importance of estate planning.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So Jonas, let me start with you. You know, there's no way of predicting the future. We all know that, but we can always remember that planning is important, especially estate planning.
Absolutely. I mean, your estate consists of pretty much everything that you own and everything that you owe. So whether it's your home or your mortgage, your car or your car loan, or your bank account, or just the money you've got buried in the backyard, it's all part of your estate, and it is your right and responsibility to direct what happens to it while you're alive and then after you pass away. This is usually best done by putting together your own planning. If you don't do your own planning through a will or trust, then your state where you live, they're going to have a plan for you, and it might not be what you want it to be. So getting your own documents put together is absolutely crucial for getting this squared away.
For sure. Now, Michelle, you specialize in working with families, especially families that have, let's say, some sort of special need. So why is it so important to make sure that those special needs are addressed when it comes to estate planning?
Well, if you have a child or grandchild that has a special need or a disability, planning for how any funds or assets that you want that child or grandchild to have is really important. If not planned correctly, it may affect benefits that they are entitled to as they become adults. If you plan correctly, you can create a trust for them that will provide for their supplemental needs and ensure that they really get the gamut of the benefits that they're entitled to, and as a parent, you want to ensure that they're successful as they move on in their life and become adults.
Sure.
So let me ask you this, how can inheritance affect SSI eligibility? In other words, could a disabled family member lose those benefits?
Yes, if you are on Social Security disability or another Social Security type program, you can have $2,000 a month in countable assets. That's not very much. If you inherit money, then that will kick you off those benefits or potentially reduce them. And oftentimes people think, well, I could just give away the money I'm going to inherit, or I'll disclaim it. But that in and of itself creates a transfer, which is problematic. So by meeting with an attorney or advisor that can assist with planning for those special needs, you can create a trust or a fund that will not disqualify them from benefits.
Great information.
How do we get started, Jonas?
It's exactly as Michelle said. You're going to start by consulting with a qualified attorney in your area, preferably someone who specializes in these areas of law, estate planning and special needs planning. A basic estate plan should consist of at least 3 things: a last will and testament, a power of attorney, and a healthcare directive. Your healthcare directive is where you're giving instruction to your family and to your physicians about whether or not you want to be kept alive on life support tube feeding when you're at that end of life stage. It's an incredibly emotional time and a difficult decision to make, so taking that off of the shoulders of your loved ones is really crucial. The next document is your power of attorney. Power of attorney is a very powerful document. It's basically a permission slip where you're giving power and authority to another person to handle legal, financial, and medical matters if you're not able to for yourself. And finally, we have your last will and testament, the document that you have the right to have to direct what happens to your estate, and also to direct who's to take care of your minor children or disabled children, should you have them, who's going to be their guardian or custodian. Putting these things together is crucial for every adult, regardless of your age, the size of your estate, or its complexity.
Cannot agree more. Tell us a little bit about Gravis Law and how it all got started.
So Gravis Law was formed in 2013 with 2 attorneys. We now have 55 attorneys.
Oh, wow.
In 17 locations.
Congratulations.
Fast growth there.
Yes, and it's a very collaborative team. We have attorneys that are in many different areas of law, not just estate planning, which allows us to really assist our clients through all their needs as they go through their stages of life, have businesses, have children, all those things need planned for. And so our firm is able to do that.
Wow, look, how about some final thoughts? Explain why our viewers need to understand that this is so important.
As I said before, it is your right and your responsibility to have these instructions laid out for your family and your loved ones. It maximizes their rights and protects their benefits and prevents confusion and chaos and a lot of broken hearts.
Families are very grateful when all of this is done.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. For our viewers who would like more information, where can they go?
You can go to our website at gravislaw.com, which will send you to our social media. We have Instagram and Facebook accounts, and so by going to any of those sources, you'll be able to reach us.
Gravislaw.com.
Really important information. Thank you again so much for being here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And of course, if you want more information, you can always go to our website, thebouncingAct.com. We'll be back right after this. Look, education is a common gateway to a better future, but not everyone has the same access or opportunities. For many children and adults living in poverty who have fewer resources, access to quality education is a distant dream. And sometimes not even that, it's the instability created by a survival environment that makes it difficult to plan for a future. Today, we have with us Dr. Ruby K. Payne, known for her work in the field of poverty, to tell us a little bit more. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today, Ruby, for sure. Look, I say it all the time, and I've said it throughout my entire life because it was this for me. I grew up in a ghetto, one of the largest ghettos in this country, a place called Cherry Hill, Baltimore. And always knew, because my parents emphasized this to the nth degree, education would be the great equalizer. It's a great equalizer. It's a way that anybody can lift themselves out of poverty, or is that right?
Well, not necessarily always.
Okay.
You can really work hard, you can get educated, it won't get you out. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't do those two things, you won't ever get out.
Wow.
So they're key. Yeah.
So what got you started on to focusing on that intersection of poverty and education?
Well, my former husband, who passed away, was named Frank Payne. He was a mix of Cherokee and Caucasian. Mm-hmm. Extreme poverty, and when I met his family, he had 3 siblings, IQs over 150, wow. Smartest family I've ever met, wow. Okay? And extreme poverty. I couldn't understand why they lived the way they did. And so that's what led me to understanding that environment. And then he took a job in the Chicago Board of Trade, and we were thrown in with very wealthy people. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand the hidden rules of wealth. Hidden rules are unspoken queuing mechanisms.
I was going to ask you that because you came up with something about the hidden rules. Yeah. Talk about what they are.
And the bottom line is that people use them, they break relationships. One of the things you have to have if you want to move out of poverty is bridging social bridging capital. You have to meet people different than you are, okay? Because they help you see the world a different way, you think differently. And I couldn't understand that environment, okay? And hidden rules tell people whether you belong or not. Like if you've ever been in a social setting that was so uncomfortable you couldn't wait to leave.
Right.
Yep. Well, there were hidden rules operating. And we have them by class, by race, by region of the country. And they often keep people from getting educated because I don't like you, I'm not going to work with you, etc. Yeah.
Wow. So like in your experience, there are some really common misconceptions when it comes to poverty and the ability to learn, which isn't necessarily the same, right?
Exactly.
Right.
People don't understand how much knowledge bases are in the environment. See, everybody's got 24 hours a day, and how you spend your time determines to a large extent who you know and what you know, okay? And then what your environment demands from you. Like in middle-class households, there's tons of paper, okay? Documents everywhere. You don't have any of those in high-poverty households. Wealth has documents and paperwork that middle class doesn't understand, like provenance, like trusts, etc. And so those environments help you succeed in the institution of schooling.
And is this why you created this whole company called the Process Inc.? I mean, is this what really prompted you to do this? And tell me a little bit more about it.
My background is an educator, done a lot of work with schools, and people were having a lot of difficulty getting their children educated in schools. And the educators were having the most difficulty. And so I explained to them, no, this is why this is happening, okay, and here's how you work to make this happen. If you don't, we do a lot of community work, and if you basically don't work with the institutions, you don't change the community, because institutions create barriers. Institutions are the vehicle by which people, individuals, interface with communities.
You help those institutions lift some of those barriers.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And is that why you started this program called Getting Ahead?
Yes.
Okay.
And Getting Ahead is for adults in poverty. We've taken 125,000 adults in poverty, and we pay them to learn. Middle class gets paid to learn. Companies pay their employees to learn. We just say, here's information that you can use if you wish to stabilize your environment.
Okay, and now you've done a lot of learning, but a lot of teaching is you're a pretty prolific author, right? I mean, you've written several books, and some of this goes down the path of economic development, right?
Right. I'm very interested in how communities stabilize, because if communities aren't stable, neither are the institutions, neither are the individuals. So how do you have economic development? And poverty reduction is one of the tools for economic development. And our ROI, we've taken 125,000 adults through poverty through it, is very good. One community got, for every dollar they spent, they got a $20 return. One community for every dollar got a $7 return. So we know it works for sustainability.
You've written, I guess, several books, and we just have a couple of them here. What do you think one of the best tips you have in one of those books might be?
Well, this one is about what happens when we do socioeconomic class. So poverty, middle class, wealth, how they think differently. That's what happens when people get in a romantic relationship, poverty to middle class to wealth, what they fight about, why you don't like your sister-in-law. Okay. This is about how you deal with emotional realities. Okay. This one looks at community issues, how you stabilize your community. If you don't stabilize your community, particularly the institutions in the community. I live in Corpus Christi, Texas. They wanted to address their homeless issues, so they brought a woman in who only wanted to work with the wealthy and did not want to work with the institutions. Well, institutions are how individuals interface with the community. So if you want to change a community, we have learned in 25 years, you have to work with the institutions. Okay?
You know, right now, we're living in a tough time. I mean, that chasm between the haves and have-nots, the wealthy and the poor, is just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. But we need to make sure that those on either side can understand tools that they can do to help both sides.
Yeah, there's not a lot of dialogue between the groups. No. Yeah.
So what do you think we need to do?
Well, one thing we do, like in this book, in the school business, we educate educators about the realities, you know, and how you transition, and you have to have social bridging capital. It's pretty difficult now to make it out of poverty unless you have an advocate. You've got to have a relationship, somebody who kind of teaches you the rules that are operating out here that you don't quite understand, and how you negotiate them and how you deal with those knowledge bases. So we like to educate the resource to people in institutions, people who, because they create the barriers, they make the laws.
Sure.
And if you have a dialogue both ways, then you can stabilize.
Put on a crystal ball for a second. You look at America right now, the chasm between those who are the wealthy and those who are in poverty seems to be getting bigger and deeper and deeper and deeper. Do we not need more programs like this to help people understand that there is a way to step your way out of poverty?
There is a way. Right now, there's a whole set of thinking at the academic level that you can only change it if you change systems. But systems are made up of people, and you have to be able, you have to work at, there's 4 causes for poverty: individual choices, the resources of a community, jobs, transportation, housing, exploitation, racism, sexism, and the last one is political and economic systems. And we have learned over the years, if you only address one cause, you will never, ever move the needle.
Wow. Look, if people wanted to get more information, because this is truly fascinating, where would they go? ahaprocess.com, AHAPROCESS.com. Dr. Payne, thank you so much for being a part of the show today, for
Thanks.
sure. Absolutely. And of course, if you don't go up on ahaprocess.com, you can always go to our website, thebalancingAct.com, and get more information. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Our current economy is affecting some harder than others. Many of us feel the impact every day when we're buying groceries, paying bills, or simply trying to get ahead. We know we need to maintain a good credit score, but when we're struggling to make ends meet, that's easier said than done. So the good news, today we have help from a leader at PREMIER Bankcard. Here with some great tips to help us manage this daily struggle is Suhey Sayer. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, because this is really an important topic. We mentioned the fact that people find themselves sometimes with more bills than their budget. So let's talk about that first.
Yeah, it's actually more common than you would think. A lot of people have to make difficult decisions every single day about balancing their financial obligations with the reality of not having a lot of funds. It can be kind of a difficult process to get out of it, but the number one thing is to be in communication with your lenders.
Great tips there. More common than ever. Don't feel bad about it. Balancing it all might mean tough decisions and no quick solutions. So for someone out there, for all those people out there saying, we owe a lot of money, not a great strategy to go radio silent.
That is correct.
Talk about that a little bit for me.
Yes, so they actually want you to be reaching out to them. They're able to provide solutions that will help you to manage your payment plans. For instance, at PREMIER, we have an award-winning 100% US-based customer service team that can help you find solutions just like that.
That's fantastic. So to sum that up, most important, communicate with your lenders. That is the key. Communicate. Some lenders may be willing to work with you and seek solutions to help manage payments. Now, we know that unfortunately life can be a vicious cycle. If you can't make ends meet, what would you say to someone that says, okay, I need to get out of this, but I don't want it to affect my score. I just don't want it to get worse.
Yeah, so I actually have 3 tips for you today
that
I want to share. The first one is to pay down your existing debt first. Try to get that as low as you can. The second one is to keep your balances manageable compared to your spending limits. And the third one is to stick to a budget to avoid overspending.
And I'm going to sum it up because you said it perfect. Pay down existing debt first, keep balances manageable, live within your means.
Yes.
How many times do we hear that, right?
All the time.
And at PREMIER, what I love the most is that you deal with customers with low credit scores every single day, right, Sui?
Yes, we do. I've worked there for almost 10 years, and I can say they're just built different than anybody else I've ever seen. Over the years, we've helped millions of customers take that second chance when other credit card companies passed on them. So whether you want to build your credit for the first time or rebuild it, PREMIER wants to help.
So if you want that second chance, it's right here. PREMIER has helped millions. Customer first focus. I love that. PREMIER approves lower credit scores. For our viewers who'd like more information, where can they go?
They can go to mypremiercreditcard.com or check out any of our social media pages.
And I think you're going to be helping a lot of people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you'd like more information, go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Remember to head to our Facebook page, like us on Instagram, follow us on X, and visit thebalancingact.com to enter our latest sweepstick or giveaway.
Ding, 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 ding,
That's
ding.
right, because you might win something.
There you go. We'll see you next time. Be safe.